Salut everyone! In this video, I'm going to show you how to install CachyOS properly and going through all the options like a boss. Yeah, like a boss. I don't know what I said that, but I thought it was pretty cool. So this video is part of the series related to CachyOS. This is, I believe, the second video. And we're going to be going through the install together, and I'm going to give you all the tips and hints for installing this wonderful distro. And yes, Shatoon is here for the special recording of this video. It's going to be a fun one. Let's get into it. As always, let's start with a little bit of context. If you are watching this video, I'm presuming you know how to set up a Vantoy key and download the ISO or burn an ISO to a USB stick. If you don't know how to do that, I make a video about Vantoy and how cool it is. I can assure you that CachyOS right now works properly with Vantoy. This is my Vantoy key booting up, and as you can see here, CachyOS is already downloaded and ready to go. To download the ISO, make sure you download it from the CachyOS website. Also, if you want, you can verify the hash to make sure it's a legit ISO, but it shouldn't be a problem at all. They have two ISO, the desktop one and the handheld one. So make sure you selection the desktop ISO, please. When it comes to installation for the desktop environment, you will need internet. So verify that your PC is connected to the internet, or at least like it has a cable into it, ready to go. Again, a little detail there, but if you want to make an offline install, I'm not sure it's going to work out for you guys. And last but not least, you need to make sure that your BIOS setup related to booting is set to UEFI. This is what I recommend, and most of the I would say recommendation I'm going to give you guys is based on the fact that you are booting in UEFI mode, and also you have secure boot disabled. So UEFI and secure boot disabled, really important. If you don't disable secure boot for the first installation, it's not going to work. So make sure you go into your BIOS and you do that. I'm not showing you my settings because every BIOS is different, but go check your motherboard manual and make sure you are in UEFI and secure boot disabled. So what I'm going to do for this video, I'm going to put the full installation set up like live. It's going to be recorded, all of it. And I'm going to accelerate some part of the video to make sure that it's not too long and not too boring at a certain part. So we're going to choose CachyOS desktop here. You have to download the latest one. I believe they release an ISO every month or every 2 months. So make sure you download the latest one. We are in August right now, and this ISO is from mid-July 2024. So we should be good. Here, when it comes to booting, I boot in normal mode, no problemo, la mano. Now, when it comes to like choosing the option here, you really have 3 big options. First one is like CachyOS with open source driver. So if you have AMD card, Intel card, this is the one you want to go to. If you have an NVIDIA card, and especially like the latest card, only like 900++ series, you should go with the second option, CachyOS with NVIDIA closed source. So it's for the proprietary driver. And the last one is just in case both of the first one does not work for whatever reason. Let's say you are installing CachyOS on a weird server. This is the one you want to go to because GPU no mode set, which means that you are not booting any driver for the GPU. It's going to just bypass it. So if you have any type of issue, that's the way to go. Me, I have a 4090. I'm going to go with NVIDIA closed source. The funny part here is like copying the rootfs image to RAM. So just be patient. It's going to accelerate the whole process after, but this is part of the process itself. If it takes some time because you are running the proprietary driver, be patient. Just wait, everything's going to be fine, I can assure it. And voila, you are on the desktop. So here, I'm going to go straight to the installation because we're going to go through all the menu later in another video, I guess. But what you need to do here is just launch the installer. Click on launch the installer. And now you have the first question, which kind of like really matter for all of you guys. And you have really like three choice. There is 4 choice there, but there is really 3 different boot manager you're gonna be able to choose from. So you have Grub, which is the old school one. And his main advantage is like it works both in like MBR mode and UEFI mode. And it's also like, I would say like relatively easy when you set up multiple operating system on your machine with different drive. It's going to do a great job finding the other operating system and loading them inside the bootloader and the boot selection when you boot. It's a pretty solid one here. And for the one who knows, it's also like sometimes source of like issue. So if you don't have multiple operating system running on your PC, I will already like not go with Grub because he has a level of complexity on top of the rest that might not be required. The second one is systemd boot, which is normally the default for CachyOS. So this one is really good because it's a little bit faster than the other. However, I do believe it just supports UEFI right now, and it also does not support multiple operating systems. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comment, but systemd boot, in my opinion, will be really beneficial if you have only one operating system on your machine, and if you want to go very fast, like a little bit faster than the 2 other bootloader there. The last one is Refined, and Refined is kind of like the new kid on the block when it comes to bootloader. This one is great if you have multiple operating systems in your PC, and it's also great if you want to run CachyOS with secure boot. I do believe there is a tuto in the Cachy wiki to run CachyOS while secure boot is enabled on your PC. So if you want to go that route, I advise you to go with Refined. So the latest one is another like Refined bootloader, but here the way like the partition is going to be made is going to be really around like NVIDIA and AI feature. So this one, if you are not willing to transform your PC into an AI specific like workstation, I will avoid it. But if you do, go for this one. So in our demonstration here, we're going to go with systemd boot. I believe this is the most stable and also like simple bootloader when you come to installing Linux. So let's choose this one. So you click on it, and now we are into the CachyOS installer. So this is Calamares. You can see at the back, you're gonna have some type of like a log getting pushed when you install everything. It's cool to watch if you have any type of issue, but you shouldn't have any issue. And we're gonna go to the install together. So choose your language, American English, yes. Now where you live, I'm in Toronto here. The region Americas and Toronto. Everything should be automatic. You can change whatever you want there, no problem. Then you go on next, you choose your keyboard. So personally, I use international keyboard here. So US international for the accent. That's what I use. But you can choose whatever you want here, no problem. Next. This is the important one where you're gonna have a lot of options. And my recommendation, of course. Here, you're gonna have to select the storage device. I have a free SSD available in my PC. The fourth one, this one is actually the Vantoy key. It shows up, but no problem. We're not going to install on the Vantoy key. I'm going to install on my 1 terabyte SSD here. So I'm going to click on it. Okay, and then I have like 4 options. The first one is install alongside any other operating system. My recommendation is never to do that because it creates complexity and you need some knowledge to make sure that everything is fine, and especially if you are dual booting with Windows. But that's an option. Second one is replace the partition in place. So there is a partition right now on it, which is like a BetterFS and FAT. You see those partitions, there they are under with this little graphic. You could just replace the partition. So it's going to format the partition, install the operating system on it. It's an option if you don't want to touch the actual like partitioning of your hard drive. Now, my opinion, like the best one for beginner, erase disk. You go on erase disk there and you start fresh. Here, the option, BetterFS, XFS, XT4, F2FS, ZFS, BCacheFS. My opinion, just go with BetterFS or XT4. BetterFS is great because it's going to give you, I would say, like more option on the long run if you keep the operating system longer, and you might need to do snapshot at a certain time. This file system gives you the opportunity to do snapshot, and it can be really nice when you encounter any type of problem on your operating system. You roll back on the previous snapshot and it's gone. So this is a great option. If you want to keep it straight and simple, old school, XT4. For the other operating systems there, I'm assuming that you know what you are doing if you are choosing any other of the two I mentioned. So you're on your own. Again, we're going to go with BetterFS. Here you have the option to encrypt the system, and you will put your password there if you want to do that. Why not? I'm not going to do it now because I don't really care. The last option you have is manual partitioning. So this is for the advanced user. I'm not covering that, but you can do that if you want. So when you set up erase disk, you double check it's a good hard drive and the right file system, you press next. Now comes the choice for the desktop environment or the window manager you want to use. My personal preference for the last, I would say like 2 years, is Plasma. Before, I really enjoyed XFCE because that's my style, like really minimalistic, and I'm more into DE right now. If you want the latest feature, if you want the best performance, quote unquote, go with KDE. You won't have any issue with it. After, you are free to choose whatever you want. It's just my recommendation. I just want you to know that most of those desktop environments, they come pre-configured, especially when I'm thinking about Hyperland or iFreeze. They have a nice little theming, nice little like keyboard shortcut, and nice optimization out of the box. So you are not going to arrive on a blank place because everything is really well set up. You can still choose like the default installation, but if you are a total beginner, if you want to try Hyperland, well, it's pretty easy to just start the install and you will go into Hyperland, which is pretty decent. I would say like pretty good actually when it comes to configuration. So Plasma next. All right, so now we jump into the packages and what you need to be actually running on your machine. Here, the default options are pretty solid. I would say though, if you want Firefox, you just have to click here and it's going to install Firefox. And if you want printing support, you just click here. That's all. That's all you need to do to have printing support for most of the actual printer. If you have an HP printer, you're going to have to add this one too. That's all you need to do, guys. There is nothing else. Then you press next. Now, if you want to go a little bit deeper into the option, you have different folder with packages. So for example, here, you have the CachyOS packages, which could be really useful. So they have their own browser, they have their own like config for specific applications they use. They have this little piece of, I would say like software, which is really good called CachyOS. And I really advise you if you're a beginner to install it. They have a CachyOS kernel manager, a CachyOS package installer, CachyOS settings. This one is also great for all the optimization. And then they have wallpaper, micro settings. So this is for like the text editor called micro. And this is for the ZSH config, which is the equivalent of like fish for terminal emulation. If I were you, you're a beginner, don't even think about it. Install everything. Use the distro. If you feel like it's bloated, because I know some of you are going to be like, oh, it's bloated, I will never use ZSH. Of course, if you know what you are doing, just untick what you don't need here. But those packages are not going to make your distribution slower. I just want to make the thing clear. Nothing is going to make your distributions slower here. Now, I won't go into all those options, but you have the opportunity to check all the base diver plus common packages there and all the KDE desktop things. What I like about it is like, if you don't like the way it looks or you don't want to install their specific CachyOS packages there, you just untick them here. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to keep everything on because honestly, like it's fine. Like at this level, it's fine. Or you press next, and now you have the basic input you need to check for your installation. So yeah, I'm going to put my name, AirMax, haha. Now the name, really important, CachyOS, by the way. Yes. And then a password, again, like a really strong password if possible. Don't go too weak on that because we never know, but it should be fine. Here, 2 options. Login automatically without asking for the password. If you want to do that, why not? I do have set that up, for example, for my streaming machine, because I turn it off and on each time I need to stream. I don't want to retype the password. That could be good. Here, I will still make sure like it's not ticked, because for security, you don't want to have anybody has access to your PC, but it's an option. And here, it's pretty easy. Use the same password for the administrator account. You click yes, because it's going to simplify your, let's say, overall like usage of the distro. I will show you why after. So now you press next. You're going to have a recap. So you just check everything. And you can see it's on the right hard drive. We have the BetterFS partition here. And yeah, everything seems cool. So you press install. And now it will just go through the install. Simple as that. So I'm going to accelerate this phase. And when it's done, we're going to go back inside it.
A few moments later.
And voila. Now we are done. We are going to restart. Click here, done. And it's going to restart the whole system. So on your first boot, you're going to arrive on this screen. This is System Deboot. You just choose CachyOS here. You press enter. And that's all. So normally, you don't have to press anything. It should go by itself, but I just wanted to show you. And it's simple as that. You're going to arrive on your operating system, and it's going to be pretty fluid from now. But you also have to choose your desktop session, because you have both installed there. That's part of the installation process. You have Wayland and X11. Personally, I will go in Wayland here. I'm going to make another full video about how to optimize CachyOS for gaming. We are just in the how to install it and set up everything straight from the get-go. But right now, I'm going to go on Wayland. I'm going to type my password there. And here we go. We are on Wayland. So first thing you need to do, obviously, is to set up your screen, because the way it's set up right now is not optimized for me. So here, it's scale my screen at 125%. I don't like it. I like 100%. And I'm going to put the frequency at 144 Hertz, like that, because this is my max frequency for the capture card there, pass through. And for color profile, what I will advise you to do if you are doing any type of content creation, but we'll talk about it certainly in another video, is to go with a built-in or your own ICC profile you set up for your screen. Me, I take built-in here. And you can also enable HDR, but we're going to talk about that later also. But just go with those, you should be fine. If you think the colors are a little bit fade when you go on built-in, go back to the other one. This is just my personal preference for my screen, and keep. And voila. Now we are good in terms of like settings and how it look. And now the next step is to go through the other setting. So the first setting I want to get into is the actual firewall setup. So you go on Wi-Fi networking. You're going to have your wired Ethernet card there. And here you have something called firewall. You're going to type your password. And you can see by default, the firewall is enabled and default incoming policy are ignored and default output policy are allowed. So this is a great thing, but just double check always that your firewall is up. It's kind of important. Now, the second one I want to talk about is the actual power management settings. So if you are on a laptop or if you are on, a different type of machine, I think after installing your system, this is what you want to do. Go there and make sure like everything is set up as you want. So I don't like my computer going to sleep. So I deactivate it. I don't like when something happens when I press the button of my actual PC. So I do nothing there. And here you can set up when you want your screen to actually turn off. So here I just let it to 10 minutes. It should be fine. And boom, apply. So here it's done. I don't want to go through all the settings there. I think I'm going to have a more in-depth video for a certain optimization when it comes to gaming or content creation. But already, this is the one you should go to for the basic. The last one will be the sound. So when it comes to sound here, you have access to all your different playback device and recording device. Here I have a pretty complex setup here, but I would say you should have access to all of them. So just deactivate the one you don't want to use and activate the one you want to use. So here, for example, like this is my USB mixer, which has a lot of channels, so I don't want to go too big into it. And then you have the other like card here, which is the sound coming up from my 4090 RTX. And I deactivated because I don't use that anyways. Now let's tweak the system. CachyOS comes with this little application called Hello. And what you want to do here is click on Application and Tweaks. When you come to the tweaks, there is 6 tweaks that this distro proposes out of the box. And I'm going to go through all of them and explain them for you to really understand the one you should activate and the one you should not activate. So the first one is called Profile Sync Daemon Enabled. And what it really does, it helps creating some of the cache from your browser and put it in a folder called temp.fs. And what it is really supposed to do is increase and reduce the access time for the cache of your browser. That's what it does. Is it something you need or you required? I personally don't use it, but you have the option if you want to improve the speed of your browser. The second one is AppArmor. You can activate AppArmor through this little GUI, and it will be working really well with the kernel and everything related to it. If you don't know what AppArmor is, it's a package, or I'll say like application that will kind of like increase the security on your machine. If you want to apply it, you just click there and type your password. I think it's pretty cool. You have the opportunity to install it. So I'm going to install it here for the jing and giggle there. Boom. And here we go. You have now AppArmor installed and running on your machine, which is pretty sweet. Ananini CPP is a software and a set of rules defined by CachyOS, which is going to give some process and other more or less, I would say like priority. It's called nice. So without getting too technical here, I really advise you to keep it on because it's going to help like setting the priority between all your application. And it's a really well thought application. Now the third one, systemd OOMD. This one, I was kind of like skeptical and I had to touch base with the CachyOS maintainer to actually understand what it was really all about. So the OOMD feature, it's something called like out of memory daemon, which is normally like already present in the kernel. So in case you are running out of memory, there is some specific like mechanism which are going to like make sure like it's not going to crash and etc. etc. So it's something which is already present in the kernel, but somehow this special application also enable it in the user space, and there is sometimes good I would say like use of it. Me, I don't use it, but let's say you need it for whatever reason, it's here, you just have to click on it. Now for the fourth one, BPF tune. So this one is really interesting because it will really help mitigate the issue if you have a bad connection. So the way it works is like you go through the kernel, analyze your packet loss. For example, you have a bad connection. It's going to be able to mitigate those while they are going to go like within your system. So you will still have packet loss overall, but it's going to make like the experience overall like smoother and more optimized. What is really important about this option is like if you have a good connection, please don't enable it because it will create an overhead on top of your connection and it might degrade the performance. So make sure this option is not enabled if your connection is fine. If you have issue with your connection, like slow connection, some type of like packet loss, try it, it might help. And for the Bluetooth, if you have Bluetooth on your machine, I do, just click on this and it's going to enable the service and make sure your Bluetooth works, which is important. Some of the users, like I've seen it on the Discord of CachyOS, are like, where is my Bluetooth? Yeah, you just have to go there and enable it. Now, the second part of this application is related to fixes. You can update the system here. You can reinstall all the package. You can refresh the keyring. You can remove the DB lock. You can clear the package cache, and you can remove the orphan. So those 6 basic, I would say, like maintenance commands are really proper to Arch. So again, if you don't know Arch, please document yourself. Me, I'm a big fan of the terminal, so I won't use them. I just type them. But in case you want to know what it does, like this is a sudo pacman-syu. This is literally what it's going to do. So you're going to do this. It's going to open a terminal, and you type your password, and boom, it's done. That's what it does. So maybe it's using Paru. I'm guessing it's using Paru, but me, I'm doing it manually, like that. I have everything up to date. Sometimes you have to refresh the keyring. It's Arch. Sometimes the database get locked while you are upgrading for whatever reason. Never happened to me in like 3 years now, but it can happen. It's an easy way to unlock it. And here, the clear package cache is related to the fact that each time you download new packages, the policy toward Arch is to keep those packages in cache on your machine. So from time to time, if you want to clean space, you just clear the packages cache and you're good to go. And for the orphan, when there is a major upgrade, sometimes some packages get orphaned, and this command removes them. Now, the gaming packages, we're going to talk about it in another video. Those 2 are really important. So this is going to install the Snapper support. So Snapper is only for BetterFS installation. We did choose BetterFS file system, and I really advise you to install Snapper. So you just click here, type your password again, and it's going to install Snappack and CachyOS Snapper support. Okay, I'm guessing it's a meta package there. It's going to install everything, and boom. Now you are good to go. Each time you're going to make an update, a big modification on your system, a snapshot is going to be taken, which is just awesome. Hey, Airmax from the future here. While I was editing this video, I noticed I forget something which is actually super cool. So I'm going to go inside CachyOS right now, and I'm going to show you something really fun. If you actually installed BetterFS, you have this application which is installed by default called BetterFS Assistant. You're going to put your password here, woohoo, and boom. This little application is really cool because it's going to kind of like give you an overall like approach of your BetterFS partition on your system. And I think it's really nice for all the users out there. So I won't be like covering it, all of it, because obviously like this will need a full video about BetterFS in general. But here you can see all the subvolume, you can see Snapper, and you can see all the different like operation I made. And you can see here the first operation that kind of like started the process of making sure the snapshot were taken is while we install this package here, like CachyOS Snapper support and Snappack. By activating through CachyOS application the BetterFS system, you can see that now we have Snapper setting ready to go and they are functioning. So if you look at the settings, by default, you're going to have a solid snapshot system set up with a nice GUI to kind of like visualize what is actually happening here. So let's get back into the video. Now, 2 more like fixes, which are important in my opinion. You can rank the mirror here. It's again another command line to rank all the mirror. I'm going to show you right away, like if you click on it and you type your password, it's going to launch a software called Reflector with specific setting, and is going to make sure that you have the best ranked server to doing your upgrades. Really important to do that from time to time, because it happens that you have like a problem or issue between yourself and the server. And by doing that, you make sure that you are always connecting to the best server all the time when it comes to do your update. So an example of use scenario, you're trying to make an update, doesn't work, you can't connect to the server, you go there, boom, you make sure everything is up to date. So here, boom, done. Your mirrors are now ranked. You're using the best mirror at this specific moment in time. Now the last one, change DNS server. This is a little funny option here. You can choose the actual DNS server for your machine and go through a GUI. I personally don't do that, but it's an option. You have AdGuard Family Protection. You have all those options, which are pretty neat. I'm not doing that personally, but if you don't have your own DNS server and you want to go through a specific one, it's pretty easy to go to. Now, last little section here we can talk about are the application. When you come to application, you have the CachyOS package installer. And this one is actually great. I advise you to just use it if you want to install anything. So for example, let's see if we can install a new browser. And you will see like the browser you already have installed are in gray and the one which are not installed are in white. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to uninstall Cachy browser because I'm not a fan of it, for example. I'm going to install it. So you click there, uninstall. Okay, password, type your password. And boom, it's done. So again, just to check here, you see this, it also means that you made another like snapshot of everything. So performing pre-snapshot for the following configuration, performing post-snapshot for the following configuration. Okay, which is great. So now I uninstalled it, see how fast it goes. And now, for example, I'm going to install Chromium because I want to install it. So here, you click on it, install, okay, type your password again. Here, you're going to have to validate it. You type yes, and voila. It's going to download it, and it's going to install it. Pretty straightforward again. Boom. So if I go down there, and I go on Chromium, I have Chromium up and running. Sorry for your eyes. So pretty good and like pretty good little applications there. I really like it. Here you have access to all the packages from the repo. Pretty darn good. Again, if you ask me, if you want to remove any of the packages you feel were too much, you can use that, or you can use the terminal. The other option, if I remember, done by default is Octopi, correct English pronunciation here. You click on it, and it's exactly like the same type of software there. I would say it has different group, and it has different like way of doing things. I think both of them, they are decent. I personally not use them, so I'll let you play with them. But yeah, that's the option. I'm gonna go in the terminal real quick. So they use Alacrity by default for the terminal emulator. And what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you another trick for all the terminal lovers there. First thing I think you should do when it comes to managing your operating system through the terminal is check the configuration of the AUR package helper. So let me show you something simple. Let's say I want to install again Chromium, and I do it through the actual terminal. So I'm going to type Paru Chromium, and what it's going to do is going to search for all the Chromium packages within the repo of CachyOS, also Arch, and the AUR. And you see there is a lot of options. The only issue is that the first option is at the top, and you can see I had to use my mouse to go up and down, which is a real pain. So I'm going to get out of this, and I'm going to do a sudo nano /etc Paru. Okay, this is the configuration for Paru. I don't know why they are not doing that by default. Maybe we're going to ask them one of those days. But you go there, and what you need to do is untick this option here called bottom up. You remove it and you save. Okay, Control-O to save in case you don't know with Nano. You are out. So now I'm going to do exactly the same research, and you will see the difference. The one which were at the top of the list, now they are at the bottom. And it's way easier for me to read. So here, this is the one installed, the package Chromium. and it's a v3 version, optimized version, and it's installed here. And I don't have to go like all the way like that because most of the important ones, they will always appear in the first iteration there. So if you want to install, press 1. It's already installed, but I'm going to do it anyways. Yes, and boom, installed. It was as simple as that to set up your operating system from scratch. You have now a working Arch-based distro, totally optimized, ready to go for doing, I would say, like most of the basic application and workload on your machine. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to optimize this installation for gaming. So don't forget to subscribe. I want to thank again all the members of the Patreon and all the members of YouTube for supporting me financially. I want to also thank all the incredible donation I got through PayPal. Guys, you are the best. Thank you very much for helping me in this adventure. But yes, that's all for today. Let's see you in the next one. And until then, bisous bisous.